Nna Emeka, Nna Emeka, Nna Emeka. How many times did I call you? Where is my refrigerator? Where is my own refrigerator? Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Mojola Olua in the building. Yay! Thank you so much for stopping by. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and leave me comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. What would you like me to talk about? Can you relate to my experiences as I share my experience as a Nigerian lawyer? It's Bar Talk with Ola. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Bar Talk with Ola. It's your favorite lawyer, Mojola Olua. Since I went public with my channel, I've been getting a lot of reviews and comments and, personal recommendations and observations and opinions and what have you. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for checking out my channel, for listening and interacting with my content, and for sending me reviews and opinions. I'm taking everything into consideration. Today, I want to talk about a criminal case. It was a case of receiving stolen property. And our client was Emeka. Nna Emeka. That's not his real name anyways. So, what happened? This was a case of, I'd like to call it mischief. A police officer was being mischievous. That's what I understood the case to be about. A police officer was being mischievous. He wanted to feed off someone, some innocent, hapless human, went out and, unfortunately, our client was caught in his nets. And so they began a legal tussle that lasted for almost a year before we could eventually resolve it. First thing I want to tell you today is that if you ever find yourself in a false accusation situation, do not budge. What did I say? Do not budge. Do not agree to things you have not done, even if they are offering you a way out. But that's one mistake that Emeka made, and it cost him a lot. I'm going to tell you all about that. But please and please, if you're accused of something you haven't done, especially by the police, get a lawyer, get proper legal advice, and get proper social advice too. Maybe from your family, your social support system. But please, as much as you can, do not budge. Do not agree to a lesser offense or agree to, replace what you have not stolen, because that's what happened with Emeka. Eventually, the police offered him, after he had been, beaten, rough-handled, maltreated, kept behind bars and, tortured actually. The Nigerian police and how they behave. So after he had been tortured, he caved and agreed to replace the item. Can you imagine that? He was accused of having stolen TV sets, stabilizer, and some other things. Although he sold electronics, he had a large electronics store where he sold electronics of different types, home theater, television sets, and all of that. Some particular items he was accused of having received from those who stole them were not even part of his items of trade. Like, he did not sell them on a normal day. But some boys were accused of having stolen those things from two police officers, and they were arrested. Somehow they claimed that they had sold those things to Emeka as a dealer in electronics. So he was accused and arrested for receiving stolen property. His shop was sealed. The police, continued to harass him even after he was released on bail. His shop was sealed again. The police came into his store and, they carted away a lot of goods and, kept them in detention, and then they charged him to court. So we came in, and then the case went on. Actually, the case was already going on before I joined the firm. So when I got into the firm, I was assigned to the case. And I remember the first time I was to go to court with another senior for the case. Fam, this was a major challenge. It was the first time I was being asked to write cross-examination questions, because that was the stage at which the case was at the time. By the grace of God, my senior counseled, my principal actually counseled almost all of the questions I wrote. I remember being properly dressed down. I can picture the part of the film that day when I was being properly dressed down for not knowing how to draft proper cross-examination questions. Oh, she dressed me down. She took the battle to my alma mater. You know, when people say things like, "What did they teach you in your school?" Eventually, and funny enough, when we got to the court, I went with another senior, not my principal at this time. As Yoruba people say, see yalenu mi. To my utmost surprise, my senior was asking the questions I had written, which my principal had cancelled at the firm. My senior was there asking those questions. I was just like, look at that. But then I kept my cool, the case went on. At some point, especially at that point where the police officer who had made the allegations, the complainant in this case, where he realized that he was now in a bad state during examinations, some things happened behind the scenes and all of that, and he agreed to withdraw the matter. The matter was withdrawn and we got a judgment discharging but not acquitting our client. Yes, so where there's a discharge because the complainant is withdrawing the charges, it's not an acquittal. So it doesn't mean that the person has been completely freed of that crime, has been adjudged innocent of that crime. It just means that, the person that brought them to court essentially is saying that, oh, I'm withdrawing my claims against them, so court, let them go. So that's what happened. We got the court judgment on the same day and we headed to the police station, to enforce the judgment. People of God, that day was when I realized, okay, I'd realized this before, but that day, that fact was reiterated to me that the Nigerian police is not your friend, especially if you're now a lawyer. Oh my God, insult upon injury. The Nigerian police is not your friend. What we went through, after we got the judgment, it took weeks before we could eventually enforce the judgments. Weeks, money changing hands, threats, and, apologies, and, quarrels, and misunderstandings, visiting and visiting the police station again, a lot of stress and all. Eventually, we got the goods released. I'll never forget, there was a particular day that I had to go with the client and his people. In Nigeria, when you have a matter in court, your people, they surround you, they go to court with you, they go to the lawyer with you. Social capital generally. You have social capital in Nigeria, there's always an uncle, an in-law, a spouse, a friend, a supporter, someone that's always going to court with you. So that's why Nigerian courts are usually overcrowded. When you go to a Nigerian court, depending on what matter it is, usually the litigants will come with appendages, friends, supporters, well-wishers, onlookers, all manner of appendages. So I remember that this particular day I went with them. My principal sent me with them. She didn't go with us that day. So I went with them to the police station. And at some point I had to go to the OC Legal's office to make an inquiry or sort something. I entered that office and the man literally threw me out of the office. Like he snapped and backed at me and threw me out of the office. I was so overwhelmed. Like, I was like, what? What on earth? Anyways, I narrated the incident to my principal when I got back to the office, and by the next time we went, she went alone into the man's office, and after some minutes, she sent for me where I went, and then the man was apologizing. Apparently, she had narrated the issue to him, and the man had suddenly just realized that I was a colleague at the bar, and then he was remorseful, and he was apologizing and saying, oh, he didn't know I was a colleague at the bar. He thought I was just one, blah, 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 and all of that. In my mind, I'm like, do you really need to know that I'm a colleague at the bar before you treat me in a civil manner? I mean, this is an office paid for by taxpayers. of whom I am included. So if anyone, any Nigerian citizen were to come into this office, you should accord them the respect you would accord someone paying your salary, even if they are not your colleagues at the bar. But anyways, I guess that's one of the things you have to go through as a junior lawyer in Nigeria. They throw all manner of things at you, and if you come out, if you survive, they say that the chick that does not die becomes a hen. So that's it. And then I recall that, there were days when we would go for this case and we'll come back so late. There was a particular day that we came back so late that I couldn't go back to the office. I just had to go home straight, and my handbag was in the office. So my keys, my personal effects, apart from my purse, which I held, and my phone, my other effects were at the office. So I could not do some things I was supposed to do at home that night. I could barely even eat, because that's one of the things I went through. And I recall that at least 3 times during this case, the litigants, tried to offer me money or buy me food or anything, but I kept refusing in deference to my principal. I'll just tell them that, please, it's very important for me to see this case to conclusion. So let's just finish the case. Let's get results before I start taking anything from you. And I recall that the very first day I was going to court on this matter, my principal called me and instructed me that I shouldn't take a dime from these people on that particular day. Even if they offered, to pay my transport fare, I should not take it. I remember that instruction very well, although I was nonplussed at the instruction, because I was wondering why would she give such instruction. But then I obeyed. And consequently, I did not take anything from them. When they offered, I refused it, even when she was present, out of deference to her. And we eventually concluded the matter successfully. And, we got judgment. We helped to enforce the judgment, which took longer than necessary, and, a lot of energy, time, resources expended, in enforcing the judgment. But he got his property back, and he was able to return to his normal life. To Jesus be his glory. Hallelujah. So let's go into the substance of the crime of receiving stolen property. Receiving stolen property is a big crime. Essentially, it means that you have aided and abetted a crime, and you have also committed a crime, on its own. So receiving stolen property means knowingly receiving property that's been stolen with the intent to permanently deprive the owner of the property of its possession. For a defendant to be convicted of this crime, he must have indeed received the stolen property, and the property must have actually been stolen. And then the defendant must have known that the goods he's receiving are stolen. That's another thing. And then the prosecution must show that the defendant acted with the intent of permanently depriving the victim of his goods to sustain a conviction. So that's the crime of receiving stolen property. It means that to prove this crime, there must be a mens rea, that's a guilty mind, and an actus reo, an action on the guilty mind. So in this case, our client did not even realize what had happened. According to the story we had, our client was in church the day he was sent for by someone that policemen were at a shop. On getting there, he was accused of having received stolen property. His shop was ransacked, and then he was consequently arrested for receiving stolen property, detained for several days, tortured by the policemen. He later told me that, he had asthma, and then he was afraid, afraid for his life. He didn't want to have a crisis while in police custody. That's why he quickly assented to and agreed, even though he did not steal or receive them. So that's what really happened in that case. We were able to get him out of the situation, and life went back to normal for everyone, until several weeks later, when some people showed up at our firm bearing a refrigerator, a brand new refrigerator, I was wondering what was going on, and then Emeka showed up with his people and all of that. They came to thank my principal for helping them out of the situation with their brother in Emeka, and they were grateful and all of that. They went into my principal's office, to discuss, and to exchange gratitude and reception of gratitude and all of that. And guess what? As they were leaving, Emeka comes to my table and he asks for my phone number. Like, he gives me his phone and says I should put in my number. And at first I was looking at him like, what's going on? Like, he took a fridge into my principal's office. And you have come to show gratitude. And you're asking for my number. Like, what? What's going on? What's going on, brother? What's going on? I refused. He kept at me, he kept pleading, kept saying I should give it to him. He wants to have my number, this and that, and all of that. But fam, I've been there, done that. It's not the first time a client will be asking for my number, and I never give it out. Except my principal says, give your number out. Because one, I don't like being suspected for disloyalty. I don't believe in disloyalty, and I don't like being suspected for it. I'd never consciously or unconsciously create a situation where my principal or my superior or anyone at work is suspecting me, of doing double dealings or backhand dealings with them and all of that. No, let's finish all our business in the office and let everybody go home. If I meet you one-on-one personally, we can do business and all of that. But if I meet you through the firm, you better be communicating with me through the firm, throughout the pendency of your relations with the firm, and throughout the pendency of my relations with the firm. So that was my policy, and so I refused to give him my number. I didn't tell my principal about this, except she watches this video because she watched the last one, and then she might find out. But then I didn't tell her about this. But fam, am I not entitled to a refrigerator? Like, we did this matter together. I put my time, my resources, my life on the line for this matter. I once even left my handbag, a lady's most precious companion, at the office because of this matter. I had to go home like that. My keys and all of that were in the handbag, and I had to go home like that. Thank God I shared the room with a roommate and the house with a family, so I was able to enter the house and, able to make use of what I could for the night until I got back to the office the next morning. And thank God the office was a safe place, so nothing happened to my bag. And all those times you were offering me money and I was saying no and all of that, I mean, you should have just, kept those monies for me. Like, this girl, good girl, diligently pursued your matter, did not run after unnecessary gain, focused on the matter and got you what you needed, alongside our principal, alongside our superior, and our team members. And all you can deign to ask for or to offer is to ask for a phone number. For what purpose? So that's what I have for you today, guys. I want you to tell me in the comment section, do you think I should have, collected all the monies that was being offered during the case, when they offered to pay for my food, when they offered to give me money, take this for that, take this for that? Should I have been collecting those monies? Or should I have given Emeka my number? For what purpose? I'm still wondering, like, does he want to be calling me, social call? Hi, how are you? How are you doing today? What's that? I don't know why. Was he planning to send me money? Was he planning to send me a recharge card? I don't know. But do you think I should have, given him my number? I don't think so. And I wouldn't give another client my number like that if I find myself in a situation like that tomorrow. So let me know in the comment section what you think about all of this. And please, PS, this is a joke. This is all a joke. It all happened for real, but I'm not expecting a refrigerator or anything from Emeka. Please, so don't get it twisted. This is not like I have a sense of entitlement or something. When he brought the refrigerator, I had no qualms with it until he wanted to have my phone number. So I felt that if the plan was to compensate me secretly, he should have, compensated me in the presence of my principal, or given her something for me, or, called me into our office in her presence and presented me with something. I really don't believe in extending relations with clients outside the purview of my duties when I'm working under someone, I don't like it because I don't want to create situations of distrust and backhand dealings. I don't want to facilitate any form of suspicion in any way. So that's it. Guys, please share my video with your friends and foes. Like my video, leave me comments in the comment section, and I will see you in my next video. I hope you've subscribed.